Никита Сергеевич Михалков, выдающийся, на мой взгляд, режиссер, замечательный актер, с другой стороны, мерзавец.
Не знаю, знаешь, как хороший режиссер, но при этом подонок.
Он, конечно, из большой российской настоящей творческой семьи.
То есть мы никого не поддерживали, ни тех, ни этих.
Не переизбрать Ельцина сегодня, это значит всем нам, всему народу расписаться в своей беспомощности.
И молю Бога, что наконец в стране появился человек, который вернул мне достоинство мое и моей страны. Я его уважаю, я люблю этого человека, он мой товарищ.
Propaganda.
False propaganda. False news.
We don't want fake news.
Joseph Goebbels, the man who defined propaganda. His name became a byword for manipulation, myth-making, and mass deception. Joseph Goebbels engineered the belief in Nazism that led millions to embrace a destructive cult, fueling war, atrocity, and genocide. He did not merely speak propaganda, he was propaganda. But this story isn't about Goebbels alone. It is about the phenomenon he helped to perfect, a force that shapes societies in every era. Propaganda is a word that needs no translation. Its methods are older than radio and newer than today's internet. Across centuries and continents, rulers and regimes have used carefully crafted messages to direct opinion, control behavior, and manufacture belief. The tools change: printing press, radio, television, social media, but the intent remains the same: to mold reality itself.
Словами нашего президента Владимира Владимировича Путина можно сегодня сказать: «Я не боюсь Запад».
And despite all the promises of a digital age, despite the explosion of information, propaganda is more dangerous, more pervasive, and more aggressive than ever.
It's all fake news. It's all fake news. This fake story. This is fake news put out by the media. I mean, they're fake. The news is fake because so much of the news is fake. Fake reporting. It is fake.
Today, as conflicts intensify and societies fracture, propaganda doesn't just distort facts. It polarizes, dehumanizes, and incites.
Дезинформация.
Какая дезинформация?
Fake
news.
The techniques are familiar. Create an enemy, rewrite history, claim victimhood, project your own crimes onto others, accuse your adversaries of the very thing you are doing, smear dissent as sabotage or foreign influence, wrap every lie in patriotism, nostalgia, and moral certainty.
На другие страны мы нападать не планируем. Мы на Украину не нападали.
Повторю, наши действия – это самозащита от создаваемых нам угроз, и при этом в наши планы не входит оккупация украинских территорий.
But at the heart of it all is the manipulation of language itself. As Victor Klemperer, a Holocaust survivor, observed in his studies of Nazi Germany, language was systematically stripped of its autonomy and repurposed for propaganda, turned into lingua tertii imperi, the language of the Third Reich. Ordinary words were given new meanings, and the constant repetition of simple phrases was used to reshape public consciousness. Goebbels codified these methods. Modern propagandists, consciously or not, still follow the same script. Culture too became a weapon. What the Nazis called Kulturpolitik. Film, literature, and art were marshalled to reinforce the regime's worldview and silence dissent, embedding ideology in every aspect of public life.
А мы хорошо понимаем, что Запад ставит задачу уничтожения нас.
И, конечно, мы будем защищать свой народ.
Исконно русские земли.
Украины такой вообще не было никогда. Была окраина России, да.
Только это исторически исконно русские земли были.
Так надо было. Если бы мы не дали отпор, они бы на нас первые напали бы.
Если бы мы не заходили на Украину, то, скорее всего, Европа уже пришла бы к нам и нападала бы на нас.
80 years after the fall of Nazi Germany, the tools have changed, but the message persists. Nowhere is this more evident than in the ongoing war in Ukraine. Since 2022, a tidal wave of misinformation, conspiracy and hate has flooded the global conversation. Competing narratives wage war on social media as fiercely as on the battlefield. And Russian state propaganda, long practiced in the art of influence, has reached new heights of reach and aggression.
Дойче Думков, ты еще увидишь, как из-за твоей продажной глупости, Анна-Лена Бербок, Берлин будет гореть.
Надо как-то сделать так, чтобы американские солдаты начали гибнуть.
Да мы сотрем в порошок Варшаву и Вильнюс.
Почему мы признаем Францию ее границу?
Как я хочу посмотреть, чтобы Урсулиха фон дер Ляля корчилась с куском беспилотника в глотке.
Когда на сегодняшний день мы говорим, что война будет безъядерной, мы, наверное, лукавим.
По количеству на душу населения, правда, Канада ее опережает, но Америка – это мировая держава подобила.
Я сейчас требую спалить Берлин.
But today's propaganda doesn't stop at Ukraine's borders. It targets all those who assert their independence or challenge official narratives. Neighboring states, minorities, intellectuals, and civil society.
Look at what's happening with Azerbaijan. Things may seem calm now, gradually settling down, but the question remains, what about our citizens there? These tone, all those statements that were made. Is this normal? How are we supposed to respond to this? Like we did back in 2022? What kind of threat would that pose to our country?
Whenever an ally or neighbor seeks its own path, it is painted as a traitor, a Nazi, or a puppet.
Все это он будет делать с достоинством.
Но все, что он сделал сам. Шучу. Никита Сергеевич, за тебя.
Спасибо. Спасибо.
Among the most striking examples is Nikita Mikhalkov, a filmmaker once celebrated for his artistry, now infamous as a champion of the Kremlin's worldview.
Украинский язык стал образом русофобии. Если будут предметы преподаваться на украинском языке, это катастрофа.
Through his program Besogon, Mikhalkov has become a relentless voice for official narratives, wielding conspiracy, chauvinism, and emotional manipulation. His transformation did not happen overnight. Mikhalkov's family history is one of power, adaptation, and service to every regime.
Вы с властями.
Всегда были хорошие отношения.
С генеральными секретарями вы были знакомы со всеми.
Со всеми был знаком, и со всеми были хорошие отношения.
From his father's rewriting of national anthems for 3 different leaders, to relatives who switched allegiances whenever it proved useful. Inheriting this legacy, Mikhalkov monetized loyalty, acquiring businesses, privileges, and the personal favor of Vladimir Putin. A hallmark of today's Russian propaganda, echoed in Mikhalkov's rhetoric, is the relentless use of the Nazi label. In the same breath, Ukrainian leaders, opposition voices, and even neighboring countries are branded as fascists, while evidence of Russian war crimes is dismissed or inverted. The legacy of semantic manipulation is obvious. Just as Nazi Germany re-engineered vocabulary to normalize extremism, making fanaticism a virtue and liberal an insult, today's Russian state language transforms war into special military operation and critics into foreign agents. This is not accidental. It is an attempt to control perception and shape reality. This is not just polemic, it is strategy. The same methods used to manufacture consent and justify atrocity in the past are repurposed for the present, accusing others of rewriting history while inventing new histories of their own.
Has passed since his Nazi grandfather, and now Friedrich Merz solemnly vows to guarantee political freedom for the whole continent by defeating Russia in war.
Painting modern Ukraine and other post-Soviet countries as hotbeds of Russophobia simply for asserting national identity or criticizing Russian actions. Projecting aggression onto adversaries while denying the realities of occupation, bombardment and displacement. Through cinema and cultural narratives, a modern-day Kulturpolitik, propaganda weaponizes national identity and artistic tradition, embedding state ideology into the collective memory and justifying political aggression as moral necessity.
Как режиссер он снимал, на мой взгляд, очень эффектные и чрезвычайно поверхностные фильмы. Никогда ни в одном из этих фильмов я не смог обнаружить ни одной мысли авторской, кроме мысли «Эх, хороша Россия, мать».
From Ukraine to Azerbaijan, propaganda's expanding targets. The logic is always the same. In his recent broadcasts, Mikhalkov claims that post-Soviet states like Azerbaijan have raised generations on anti-Russian textbooks, painting elites as Russophobes. He dismisses legitimate criticism as hysteria, frames sovereign decisions as Western puppetry, and accuses governments of betrayal for forging their own alliances.
Народные республики Донбасса обратились к России с просьбой о помощи.
These are not isolated attacks. They are extensions of a universal propaganda strategy to erase independent agency from neighbors, to cast any assertion of sovereignty as hostility, to use language, culture, and education as battlegrounds for control. Why does it matter? Because propaganda does not just obscure the truth, it justifies violence, silences debate, and enables atrocity. 8 decades ago, Goebbels' narratives prepared a nation for the unthinkable.
Какая там долгая война? Тынц, и весь мир в труху.
Today, the same machinery, updated for a digital age, threatens to do the same. When critics are branded as enemies, and when history is rewritten in service of power, the path to dehumanization is dangerously short.
Зачем украинцам, если вот так как бы подумать, да, зачем им убивать собственное население?
Ну, это геноцид. Просто геноцид.
А геноцид кого? Если Украина убивает украинцев, получается, собственное население?
Собственный народ, да. Вот от этого аж волос дыбом. Ну, они же и так же и подставляют вот Россию.
The symbols and faces change. The techniques do not. The most insidious propaganda convinces us that the line between truth and lie is unimportant, that facts are negotiable, and that violence can be justified by narrative. The horrors of the 20th century were enabled by such thinking. They must not be repeated.
Всего доброго, Никита Сергеевич. Поздравляю вас. Еще раз поздравляю. И всех ваших близких.